Hello. Hi everyone. Um Hope everyone's doing good. I'm doing good. Had a good day. Um just getting ready for the holiday tomorrow. And I thought, since tomorrow I might not be streaming, I thought I might take care of that today and stream for a little bit. Uh as always, thanks for joining me. Um I am a developer that handles most development inside of the SharePoint platform, but I am always open to developing in other platforms. I have done full stack development in the past. Um, if you have any questions, I'm happy to always help. And in today's, I don't really have anything planned. Usually, I just go with the flow. Um, the last time we were meeting, I decided to work on provisioning assets because what's happening obviously is uh my network calls are failing because my assets don't exist. What I mean by assets is my lists and libraries. My list in this case uh doesn't exist. So naturally we're gonna get errors. So this is why I'm getting please contact your system administrator. That is because the assets do not exist. So I looked up a way to deploy assets and well, um it's not what I was expecting it how it was I was expecting it to work. So anyway, I am going to work on a script that automatically deploys all of my lists and libraries. I mean lists in my case and columns that I need. So basically what I'm going to do is a couple of nights ago so let me get rid of this folder first of all. And let's look at some of the things that were worked on the last time. So I believe what we asked for AI to help us with was creating the delete confirmations. And we need to get rid of this too. We don't need this change. All right, perfect. So we can close this. Hopefully my stream's okay. According to OBS, I don't have any drop frames, but um um anyway, what I was saying is I don't have according to the browser it says my bitrate is bad, but according to OBS it's fine. So hopefully you're able to see my stream okay. And everything's all right. So anyway, the confirm delete dialog was added. So all right. And so what I was saying is we did have a file that was created. And I believe I downloaded it. It was this one. What nope, was it? Was it? Rating list schemas? I don't think it was that one. Um Maybe it was this. Let's find out. Oh, it was this one. Cool. Topics An FAQ list. Okay, so we're gonna use this JSON to deploy our assets. Basically, we're gonna make it create our lists and our columns. All right, so to do that, we need to create an API. We can call it I'm trying to think of what would be the best approach to do this. Let's just go ahead and wing it. Post API. And in here, we're gonna need a couple of things. I'm not gonna get sidetracked. We need to go to the documentation. We're gonna need a few calls. We're gonna need to create list. Files list right here. So we need to add a list. I think there was like I think there's like a way to check if a list already exists. Get list by ID, add a list. I know that there's a way that we can do this. Let me do this. All right. So create a list. So we're going to start there. So obviously we're going to have to bring this in. I believe I already have this in my configuration. So here we go. I do. Good. And then the list is going to be here. But let's check something. So let's test the API to see if we can find if the list exists. So we do that. Let me close some of this stuff. I have so many tabs open. Close that. Close that. What is this? We can close that as well. I'm gonna need that, but oof. I'm gonna store it. I'm gonna need that. All right. Close this. Close this. All right. Okay, so in our post API, we're gonna need to check if the list exists. So let's go here, inspect it, and we're gonna go to the SharePoint. And here, we're gonna do a little bit of testing. Const lists equals await sp.web.list.get. Well, no, we're just gonna get the lists, and we're gonna filter And we're gonna use the template literal title equals and then put in quotes $, and we're gonna say the list name is the list that we're gonna look for is FAQ topics. Okay, and this is gonna be list name. All right, and then we're gonna check. Let's see what this returns. I'm gonna clear this up. Returns nothing. Now, let's say hypothetically, I do create the list. To create the list, we're gonna use this. That's using graph. I don't want to use graph. I want to use core, or is it not core, but SP list. Add a list. Create a new list. Okay. So now, let's go back to our code. Let's run this up here. Get rid of this. All right. So we're going to create the list, and then we're going to check if the list exists. Should. So Control D. And there it is. Awesome. So this is our list. I'm going to copy this object, and I'm going to go to beautifier. This is our list. And what we're going to need from our list is our identifier. So let's do some pseudocode. So pseudocode is just basically saying we need to have like an outline, right? Like an outline on how we're going to handle things. All right. So our outline is going to be get the JSON data to create artifacts. And we're going to check the lists array. Then we're going to go for each list, check if it exists. Create list if it does not exist. And then upon creation, store name to ID map, and so what the map does is that it lets us quickly look up a parent, not a parent child, but basically a relationship between a specific property in a JSON object to another property in a JSON object. It'll make more sense once we write it down, once we actually write it in code. But I just want to kind of like in my mind process how I'm going to tackle the process of building these artifacts in my SharePoint site, if that makes any sense. And the way our JSON is, like the way it is we have the list and then we have fields. And then each field has a type. This one's note, and then this one's a lookup. And if it's a lookup, we need to ask, then we're gonna check fields for each list to see if it contains lookup fields. And for the lookup field, oh no, we will need to know the parent list name. What else will we need? We will need I just saved it. I'm gonna go to bookmarks. This right here. Oh, that wasn't the one I needed. I need something else. History. We need. I think it was this one. We're gonna need a Boolean for enforce unique values. True or false. Then we're gonna need the identifier. And I think that's it. I'm gonna put this in there. Okay, so now we now know what we need to add. Sorry, I'm not really into it today. I'm not really. Anyway, let's okay, so let me concentrate. So the first thing we need to do is we need to check okay, so we get the JSON. The JSON's gonna be so we're gonna copy this JSON and we're gonna go to app props. And Inside of app props, we're going to create a type, which is, you guessed it, JSON to TS. So we have our list object. List, let's call it list schema. And then our field, we're going to call it column provider. Type. Provider. And then we're going to get rid of this. And then all right, so now we have established our type for the data that we're going to be provided. We have a type, display, and then we need portion unique values. And then portion unique values is going to be type. That's going to be a Boolean. List. They're going to be a string. And of course, the type is required, display required, and portion unique values indexed. I'm going to move this down. Move this down because this is going to be optional. Not all fields. Read only hidden description, ID, name, static name, group. This is also optional. Read only hidden description, ID, name, static name, group, indexed. Okay. And then, so on this one, gonna need to have a list. Execute topics. Let's move this down. We need to have the list and portion unique values. That's already on there. And portion unique values is actually not optional. I already technically had it there. Let me get rid of that. And portion unique values, index, group, static, name, ID, description, hidden, read only. Let's make it list. And then we're gonna say list. And then the other one was my dog was here. The next thing we need is update parent list field based on lookup. No. Relationship behavior. Relationship delete behavior. What's the problem here? Oh, duh. Okay. And then let's go to app props. We have relationship delete behavior. It's gonna be a string. And this is also optional. All right. So we have our app props. All right. So then the way we're gonna handle things is we need to create trying to think of what would be the best way to do this. If we're provisioning assets, trying to think on I'm trying to think because the more I think about it to create the fields, so when we create fields, the way I want to create them is using XML. Okay. And obviously I'm going to have to generate the field XML. So the field XML is something that needs to be generated. And I have done this in the past. I'm just trying to remember if I have it in here or not. I think it's under provisioning. Let's go look at this code that I wrote before because I hate to write code twice. And if I already have it, there's no point in writing it again. So to find it, it's gotta be like a, yeah, there we go. Create field XML. Let's do this one. Let's copy this code. This is all the code we're gonna need. Let's copy this code into our application. So we're gonna create a helper function. Provisioning helpers. Where's the SPFx coming from? Oh, they're here. All right. All right. We have this. Column provider type was all right. And then looks like I'm missing some props. So let's go get the type from here instead. Obviously this is gonna be go to definition. Get our type from here. Okay, that fixes that. There was a couple of actually before I do that. Before I do that, I need to bring in the two columns that I look up. Yeah, list ID, relationship. Oh, perfect. It's already here. List ID and relationship delete behavior. Perfect. All right. And then do I have the list ID here? I do have the list ID and the relationship delete behavior. Perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. I love it. All right. So we have list and the reason I say that we need these is because remember we're gonna make them cascade delete if you know we wanted to cascade delete. So now that we have this functionality working, we can save the helper, we can save the app props, and then we're going to go to our post API. So we have our data here. Training. Let's rename this first of all. Can I rename here? No? Gosh, that sucks. Oh, it's not even part of my app. Do this. Go to in here. App lists schema. All right. So now app list schema. I believe we can use import. Let's see. How did I handle it over here? Hmm. Try this. This is gonna be under helpers. Helpers. That's what I typed. All right. So now refill XML. I think I'm gonna do this differently. I'm gonna keep the fields as they are, but I'm going to do things a little bit differently. I don't think this is gonna be. Trying to find the darn thing that. I'm gonna. So this works good for my provisioning web part, but it doesn't work well for what I'm trying to do right now in the FAQ web part. So I'm gonna change this some way. Instead of this, I'm gonna create a TS file. It's gonna be called list. All right. And so here instead, the way it's gonna work is we're gonna have a list to create. It's gonna be a string array. And it's gonna be FAQs. FAQ list. For const list to create string array. And then the way it's gonna work is Um, stop. 80 stop. Um, I need to create a relationship between the list. 80 stop. A list and the columns. So to do that, coming from um I'm gonna close that because this is confusing me. Okay, so now we need to create um all right, so we're gonna have type I'm gonna fix this. This is not right. So first of all, this is false. Number lines is 6. Answer to the FAQ question. Answer and then the ID. Maybe this. Like that. Let's see if it in the that. No answer required is false. I always leave them as false now that I think about it. I think I'm supposed to put them like this. Which 6 is at the what? And then anyway, rich text is false. Number of lines is 6. And then the next one we need is the parent ID. Type is lookup, and it's gonna be parent ID. We're gonna change this ID to this. Required, is it required? Yes. Enforce unique values. False. Index, true. Group. We're gonna change the group, obviously. Put a comma here. And then this group is gonna be underscore PQ columns. All right, so we have our relationship delete behavior. Cascade. SID to be dynamically after show field. Let's talk about list ID is going to be determined while we're doing the provisioning part. All right, so we have type, lookup, the name, the ID required. Enforce unique values is false. Index is true. Group, description, relationship, delete behavior, list ID. Okay. I think we have what we need in the columns. So now in the provisioning helper, we leave that as is. We leave this as is. And then in the close that. In the post API, we need to create a function to check. We need to create some reusable functions. To check if a list exists, we did it earlier. It was right here. All right, so to check if a list exists, we're gonna create a function. Checks if list exists by filtering by list name and if found, and if array length is not equal to 0, then we're return true. Returns the type is Boolean, but let me look at jeez, come on. Don't save. Have I not been organized so far? Okay, that's what I'm doing. Okay. Add returns. Boolean. Okay. And so check if list exists, list name. Close that. We're gonna get SP. Before we do that, we're gonna put in a try catch. We're gonna move this Oops. Move it up. So we get our SP object. We check of the list. We don't do the console. And if it and then if it doesn't work, we're gonna throw an error. Okay, so that's just gonna be our way of checking. All right, and then the next thing is check if the list exists. We already did that. We're gonna create the list. So the next thing is gonna be a function that creates the list. Creates a simple list with a given name and template type. Since this application is relatively static, right? We're just gonna be using custom lists. We don't need to put a template type, just a given name. And we're just gonna create a list. Create the list. We're gonna do this. Okay. And this is going to return. By the way, I wonder what happens when we create the list. Let me refresh this. And what gets returned? I'm gonna make like a series of videos on this because I feel like that is very useful information. Because sometimes I get a little lost in this is gonna be add result. Is to add result, and then this one's gonna be list. I don't really need this one. Get rid of that. All right, so we deleted the list. It's not there anymore. We're gonna find out what gets returned. So it looks like you get all this object. So we're gonna copy the object. And I wonder what iList info returns. At returns iList info. And we're gonna import iList info. Now what I'm curious about is we're gonna go to the definition. So allow content types, base template, base type. It looks like it's pretty verbose type. We're gonna use that because it looks like it's pretty much image path is there, right? Image path was there. Image path, yeah, there you go. Decoded URL. Decoded URL, very good. Current web URL. Decoded URL. Okay, so it looks like the type's pretty intact, so that's good. So it's gonna return iList info. Create list. And we're gonna close that. And put a semicolon. Get SP. Then we're gonna move this line up. And we're gonna actually wrap it in a try catch. We're gonna move this into the top of the try catch. And we're going to return iList that result. And we're gonna throw an error. All right, perfect. So this creates our list. Now we're gonna be working on I'm not gonna do this part because I think this was when I was thinking of incorporating both integrating the JSON with my API calls, which I'm not doing that anymore. So we're gonna get rid of this. Check fields for each list to see if it contains a lookup field. So this function is going to create SharePoint field. The question becomes, because I created the fields. Wonder what happens. Right now, this is the object. Hi, chatter. I'm doing well. How about yourself? Anything you're working specific in SharePoint? Are you a SharePoint developer? So the next thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna do a generic function that is going to check the list fields. So once we filter this object, I think there's a field filter dot. Let's do a const fields goes away sp.web.list get by title list name fields, and let's console out the fields. I want to see what this object looks like. That's a lot of fields. And you know what's crazy is that it has 85 fields, and I literally created that list, and I haven't even added any list. It's funny that they're still using knockout on SharePoint. I haven't even created any fields. The only field I created was I think, is there a filter? Can I filter fields? I think I've done that in the past. I think I did that in the provisioning. Go back and look at provisioning. I'm gonna have to close it right away because then I just get confused. But in provisioning, when we get the fields, oh, I'm actually a fresher data analyst. What is a fresher data analyst? Fresher. Is that like a platform? Fresher? Fresher. Fresher data. What is fresher data? Oh, it just means an entry level role in data analytics. Ah, okay. Sorry. Never heard the term, honestly. But learn something new every day. Thank you. That's cool. Recently graduated data analyst. That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, maybe we can do something around the lines of that. I've done not data analysis, but data data modeling, which I'm sure is part of that as well. You know, building data models, cubes, if you will, for reporting. You might be familiar with that kind of stuff. I've done stuff like that in the past. But I've never actually had a job as a data analyst. The extent of my data analysis is just rendering reports here and there using JavaScript. So let's go look at the word hidden. So get API, field hidden. So user fields, filter, fields.filter. So let's add this filter here. And we're gonna get rid of the type. Where's context coming from? Source target. Oh. Include ID for source list field internal name ID. All right. Field can be deleted. I just want to get stuff that's include user fields. I need to do a filter, but I'm not sure that this is it. API. Exclude hidden lists. There's gotta be a hidden field. Can I do a... So we pass the field with the filter. And then... All right, bye. Take care, chatter. Thanks for joining. See you next time. Name ID. Includes. Oh, look at what title is. ID. Hidden is not hidden. Field not hidden. Fields that filter. Let's see what this returns. Open this up. Cannot read properties of undefined. Reading includes. I'm gonna get rid of this line. Field internal name. We're returning 85. ID. Hidden. False. Hidden true. So field, filter, field. And then field. Let me get to this. many does that return? That returns 85. Fine. Hidden. Then. Oh. Oh, duh. This might be why. 24. There we go. Appeal not equal. Group custom columns can be deleted. So this would be can be deleted. And can be deleted is equal to true. I think this has to be no. Oh wait. This is gotta be an or. Wow, it doesn't have a can be deleted, but I literally see it right there. So that's concerning, because we just said I list info. So this is returning I field info. I field info. Field info is not even a property. Huh. Maybe not. Interesting. Okay, so I don't think I can define a type in here. Type test equals. Oh, I can. I field custom. And in this one, we're going to type add a property to existing type, create new type. So, oh, here we go. We have in here, I field perfect. I field info. And on this one, it's going to be can be deleted. And this is going to be a Boolean. So then this change to this array. And then we have field can be deleted. So interesting that if you were to do this, field that can be deleted. Oh, I left it as true and it needs to be false. Still returning 85. Why? Field hidden. Oh, false. Now I'm getting 85 again. Oh, wait. Not equal. 24 can be deleted, false. That's not, oh yeah, because title cannot be deleted. That's why it's not returning anything. But if I add a new, I go to list settings and I add from existing site columns. Let's just say address, hypothetically. Now, if I run it, you can see that address is there. Perfect. So we need to, on our call, create a function that checks if a field exists in a list by internal name. And if it does exist, it's going to ignore it. If it doesn't exist, then it's going to add it. So we're going to first create I'm a little concerned that iFieldInfo is not coming back. But let's try something. Let's go ahead and start creating. Check if field exists. Check field exists. We're gonna do a try catch. And we're going to copy this. All right. And we're gonna get on this SP. Get SP. And iField custom is going to be. Now I'm curious though. If we get rid of this, what does this say it's returning? Oh, that's why I couldn't find it. Because we don't have the import for fields. I was wondering why it wasn't coming in. We need this import. Let's put this under list like this. There we go. Now we have iFieldInfo. But iFieldInfo, we saw that it didn't have what we needed. Go to definition. It can be deleted is not there. We're gonna have to create an app. We're gonna have to create a type called custom, like we did in our console. Maybe right here. Export field info. All right. Check a field exists, and this is going to return I field custom. Let's call it I field custom info. Oof. All right. User fields. Oh, because we didn't put an array. Okay. So these are the user fields. I'm trying to think. Trying to think of a way this should work. But I'm not a big fan of this. Okay. Export. Okay, so we're checking if the fields exist. Oh, I have to do it like this. Okay. So now that we have the way to check if a field exists, we need to actually check if field exists. I'm going to call this ensure field this. And save it. And what's going to change here is I'm going to return Boolean. I'm going to return. Well, I guess I can return Boolean. It's not going to return this. What does this return? Boolean. Okay. And then right here, we're going to do if not field exists. We're going to create the field. Create field using XML. So not the XML, but the field name, list name, field internal name. And so, yeah, we're going to create the field. If it doesn't exist, we'll create it. And then if it creates it, we'll return true. And otherwise, we'll just return true. But it already existed. So create the field using XML. We're going to be using the function to do that. And the function is going to be the create field XML. So we're going to import that. And the field internal name is going to be changed to helpers was here, I believe, right? No, what is it? Applet schema. Column provider. Column provider type. And then field internal name. This is going to be the field. Field object. And we're going to say field object dot I think there's an internal name. Let's just say static name. All right. And then if it does exist, now we're gonna use create field XML using what was the function that we had for that? It was under helpers. Versioning helpers. Create field XML. Const field XML equals create field XML. All right, and then we're going to use the function same way we did in provisioning. Create field here we go. Right here, field XML, field, create field. And then we're going to go ahead and create the field. Create field as XML. Field info. Field info. Copy this. Site is not there because site hasn't been imported. Look at the documentation. I'm going to look at site. And for site, we're going to import this. So we're going to go to PMP.js config. We're going to import sites. Put it here. Import add PMP sites. All right, that should get rid of our error. Create field as this create field as XML. And what is the second parameter? Find out. I don't think that it requires 2 parameters. Field XML. It doesn't, it just requires 1. Create field and then return 2. So that should be a function that checks if the field exists. If it doesn't exist, it goes ahead and creates it. We're going to save that. Never checked if there's an ensure fields. Get field by title. Advanced. Add a lookup field. All right, no worries. All right, so we now know what we need. We need to know the parent list name and 4 unique values. I think this is all something that we can check. If we're adding a field, we need to get the parent list information. But let's work on that next on the ensure field, because we're gonna have to check if it's a lookup field. And they only check it if the field does not exist. Check if field is lookup. Set the list ID. If field object type is equal to lookup, then we need to do a few things. Can we do it this way? think we can. Fields. Fonts list equals wait dot web dot list dot get by FAQ topics. Comment this out, comment this out, and we're going to comment this out. Here's our list, and we have our ID, which is what we need. We need our ID. And so this list is going to be iListInfo. So it's correct in doing that, but I'll do a dot select. And what we need is just the ID. Okay, just the ID. Okay. Field object. And then field object. Why is this crapping out? Possible race condition. What is it talking about a race condition? I don't know what it means by that. Doesn't make any sense to me. What does it mean by that? Lane. Yeah, that's what I figured. I don't know what it's talking about a race condition. You're mutating field object parameter by assigning field object list ID. It's in the setup if the colors object is being modified, which can lead to unexpected behavior. Oh, wait, list 0, because it returns an object, but the object is not an array. It's a single object, so it's not an array. That's incorrect. All objects being modified, which can lead to unexpected behavior. Type safety. TypeScript might not expect field object to have a list ID property mutated at runtime. Ah, okay, I can do that way. We're going to use a spread operator. Not a problem. I think that's a good idea, the spread operator. That way we're just... and then... And I'm assuming it's saying to do that because... Move this over so I can get more real estate. Right here. I don't like that. Can I just set the field object back and not? Yeah, I can do that way. Basically what I'm saying here is I'm going to take the field object and update just the list ID. It's a lookup field based on the field name, the list name. But the problem is that the list name I need to figure out what the parent list name is. And I think I had set up a scenario where I wanted to know, if I remember correctly, let's go to provisioning helper was schema, app list schema, and list is the name of the property that I was using. So this is going to be field object list. Why is this crapping out? Column provider type. Go to definition. Let's just say list ID was going to be that. So list ID. Let's use that. Okay. So if it's a lookup, it's going to expect to know the list ID. Because I'm going to put just the name of the list as the list ID while we go through the provisioning process. Okay. I think that should take care of that. Our post API. What else do we need? Check if list exists, create the list. And then ensure field exists. Yeah, that's going to be our setup for our next part. So today we created the post API, the API layer, for working with provisioning lists and fields to SharePoint. Tomorrow we will actually implement the provisioning process, and we're also going to implement a check on whether they even have the ability to provisioning assets or not. But that's going to be it for me today. Thanks for joining me, and I will catch you on the next one. Thanks again. Peace.